Hi, good afternoon everyone. I'm Dankner from Intelligym, and I want to share with you some of the stuff that we have gone through. There you go. So I was born and raised in Israel, and you know we have mandatory military service there. I served as in the Israeli Air Force as an officer, and when I was there in the flight academy flying jets and stuff, one of the main traits that they needed to teach us, and one of the most important stuff, is that you need to understand your landscape very fast. You need to do that quickly, because if you do, chances are that you will be the first mover, and if you are, you have an advantage. So the Air Force invests a lot in training those skills. And while I was there in the Air Force, there was a study going on. There was a research that actually trying to find ways to train those skills and make fighter pilots actually think faster and making better decisions and less mistakes. So the Israeli group, one of the Israeli groups in this study that was funded by DARPA, they have developed this computerized training program for pilots, and when they studied that and measured the impact, they have found an average of 30% increase for pilots in performance of the guys who went through this training program compared to the control. And this was pretty significant because that increase in performance was actually measured in the cockpit. Okay, so you train the computer and then you see the impact there. That was actually the first time when they managed to show transfer of skills from the computerized environment to real-life performance using a computer program which is not a simulator. So we approached the same research team after this study was declassified, and we asked, can this be, used for other purposes? And what we had in mind is sport. And they looked into the details, and they looked at the cognitive aspects of sports, and interestingly, what they had found is that from a cognitive brain standpoint, there are many similarities between a fighter pilot and a competitive athlete, particularly in team sports, where it's more complex environment. So we took a deeper look into players' development and what does it take to make top players. And what you see there is you need a few skills, or a few areas of skills. One of them would be obviously physical traits. You need to be fast and strong and agile. And then you need to have the technique. Well, in the case of soccer, that would be passing, kicking, receiving passes, and so on. And then you have the tactics, which are the team play, offense, defense, and so on. And for those three areas, you have well-documented protocols of how to train those skills. However, the fourth one is pretty tricky. This is decision-making. Okay, some people would call it game intelligence or game smarts, but to train that is much harder. And when cognitive developers and cognitive engineers are looking into that, what they see is actually a long list of brain skills that are needed in order to be an effective player. And that would be spatial awareness, anticipation, pattern recognition, long-term concentration, working memory, divided attention. So a long list of skills. If you can train those skills, this player is going to be by far more effective on the field, and that's what makes the difference between the best top players and all the rest. So that's basically what we do in Intelligym. We improve the performance of athletes by boosting their brain skills. And we do that by using a computerized training program. And all the players have to do is sit by a computer, do this training session twice a week for half an hour each training session. When they go back to play, they do things much better. And it's very apparent what's happening after they're using for a short period of time. By the way, this photo you see here is the under-17 national team using the Intelligym, and it was posted in the New York Times, in a story titled, "The national team is using Air Force pilots training technology," which is a neat story. So this is the recent product we have, which is the soccer Intelligym. As you can tell, looks like a video game. It's a fun video game, and it doesn't look like soccer, which is one of the fundamental principles to make these programs so effective. And they're just doing that, playing a video game, but under the hood you have all these AI algorithms and a lot of data crunching, because every trainee has his own or her own training program. It needs to be highly, highly personalized according to the learning curves and progress rate of each and every trainee. So the question is, of course, so how do we know it works? And when we presented the Intelligym concept in the European Union, this is where we started, we actually were fortunate to receive $2 million grant from the European Union, And two top universities, one in Germany and one in the Netherlands, they studied the efficacy of the program. They have top sport performance programs there. And this is what they have done. So they have actually run studies with control and test group and so on. And the main findings can be shown here. Those are published studies. Interestingly, the numbers are very similar to what has been found in the Air Force. In every category they measured on the field, that would be offense, defense, with the ball, without the ball, that would be positioning, transition game, tens of percent of improvement for those guys who went through the training program compared to the control. And again, all the measurements are done on the field, real-time performance. So now a few words about our team. So I'm Danny, I run the company. As I mentioned, I was in the Air Force, had a law degree in IP and MBA. This is the fourth company that I co-found, and I also teach entrepreneurship in Tel Aviv University. We have Dror, who is the president of the company. He loves disruptive technology. So he was on the team in M Systems who developed the memory stick, later on purchased by SanDisk, and then he later on moved to develop speech recognition technologies, again later purchased by Nuance, and now he's dealing with brain performance. The guy on our team, this is Professor Daniel Goffer. He is like a rock star in the world of cognitive performance. He worked in the Air Force. He led the research, the regional research in the Air Force, and there he worked with Daniel Kahneman, maybe you heard the name, who won the Nobel Prize for his behavioral studies, and he also won, Professor Goffer won the Outstanding Award for his contribution to the human factor by the Human Factor Society. And the last guy is Jacob Rinchman. He did his PhD with Daniel Goffer. He founded and directed the Cognitive Lab in the Technion. So let's talk about the market and marketing. So as we've seen before, in every sport, in every territory, you have this very typical pyramid with the professionals at the top. But in fact, 99% of the market is not there. So this is where we're concentrating. This is the bottom of the market, and that would be the aspiring players. So basically, we're selling software licenses to individual players. So it's a B2C company. And we will sell software license for anywhere between $120 and $350 per player per year. So if you're a parent to a 12 or 14 or 16-year-old player who really aspire to impress the coach and make it to the next level, and you want your kids to have some useful screen time because they have tons of screen time anyway, you will purchase for $100 a year this license for your kid. So we started with ice hockey, and we had a very, very fruitful collaboration with USA Hockey, which is still we have to date. USA Hockey is, of course, the governing body of ice hockey in the United States. And when you work with the governing body, the first team to use your program are the national teams. So this is the first responses. We had Kurt Kleinendorf, he was the head coach of the under-18 national team who won the world championship title. When they used Intelligym, he said, the players started to make plays under pressure that I hadn't seen prior to them using Intelligym. And we keep hearing those all the time from coaches and parents who are using Intelligym. Usually after 8 to 10 training sessions, the results are very, very clear in the way they see what's going on around them and make much better and faster decisions. So after the successful rollout in ice hockey, we decided to go for the biggest and most popular sport in the world, which is darts. No, okay, which is soccer. Okay, and for those of you who are not really familiar with soccer, let me just give you glimpse at the numbers. So here in the U.S., you have more than 24 million active soccer players. Okay, many of them are within our market. If you look at it globally, you have, according to FIFA, more than 260 million active players worldwide. So you do the math and you see that the total addressable market is actually over $30 billion, and that is just in the soccer market. Now, when we started working on soccer, we actually targeted the best soccer academies in Europe, which we have found in the Netherlands, in Germany, and Austria. So this is where we started. And we also collaborated with their federations there, the German Football Federation and the Dutch Football Federation. And team, I know you love numbers and traction, so this one's for you. So far, we have more than 50,000 players using Intelligym. Okay, these are paying customers that are purchasing licenses for this product. And last year we had revenues of about $750,000. This year it's probably going to be, we're expecting it to be double, so $1.5 billion. in revenues this year. And we see the growth and we see the interest, and we think that that part, that game intelligence and game smarts is actually the next frontier of human performance. And this is why we decided not to just grow organically, but to actually run through a fundraising run. And we're now raising $2.5 million exactly for that purpose, to go to marketing, sales, and brand awareness. Out of that target, we have $600K already secured. Interestingly, two of those are actually from Chinese investors, and they see huge potential in the soccer Chinese market, which is now going through a major expansion. And that hot off the presses, this morning I just got an email from our development team that our soccer Intelligym Chinese version has just been released. We have the partners in China, so this is very exciting times for us. It's a huge market. Most of the money that we are now raising is, as I said, going to marketing and sales, brand awareness, a lot of online digital marketing campaigns. So that's pretty much about us. If you're intrigued by this combination of brain sciences, AI, serious gaming, and sports, I'll be glad to tell you more about it. Thank you very much.